The market for mobile AR is projected to be $108 billion by 2021. So when we think about new trends and opportunities to capitalize on trends and engage our clients, AR is definitely an opportunity that we identified. Augmented reality adds graphics and sounds and touch feedback into a natural world to create an enhanced user experience. And the way we used it at the conference was really to think about what we wanted our conference attendees to do. Every year in Chicago for 30 years, we've hosted the Morningstar Investment Conference. It's our flagship event, and this last year we had over 2,700 attendees. We have 171 exhibiting companies, and we need to be able to drive interactions with attendees, exhibitors, speakers, our own company, and really think about how to create new experiences. So our goals around using augmented reality, we wanted to provide attendees with an opportunity to connect with Morningstar people and our products in new ways. We wanted to feature Morningstar data. We produce a ton of data as an organization, investment data. We want to showcase that data in an interactive format. We wanted to deliver a new fun experience for conference attendees, and we wanted to increase traffic and interest in sponsors, so really drive people throughout the exhibit hall. So what you see here are screenshots from our AR at MIC companion mobile app. In terms of how it worked, we already have an app that we licensed through Crowd Compass. That's our main mobile app. Based on this off-the-shelf offering, we weren't able to integrate the AR technology into the off-the-shelf Crowd Compass app, so we created a companion app. You download it from the App Store, and it had prominent placement on our home screen icon in the main conference app. And once you downloaded this companion app, the integration was very seamless thanks to our developer Mesmerize. In terms of results, how many people actually downloaded a second app? That's definitely a big step that you're asking attendees to take. We had 565 downloads of a second augmented reality app, or excuse me, a second app, and that was 36% of our main conference attendees. So we felt really good being this being our first conference, AR experience, and getting people to do something, kind of a second action. What could they do within the app? Again, how did this meet our goals? There were 4 areas: discover, nearby, sponsors, and a 3D floor plan. Discover is certainly used the most. And one of the exciting things about digital that I'm sure you're all familiar with is the data that's available, and you can really evaluate, are these experiences delivering on your goals? And if they're not, you can cut the experience for next year and move on. But the data for us, we really revealed that we want to keep building on this. So in terms of nearby, throughout the exhibit hall, we had QR codes in different areas where people could scan the codes on signs and learn about what was happening in the exhibit hall. So learn about new opportunities to engage with Morningstar, as well as the sponsors and exhibitors. And there were 193 actions through the nearby floor plan. We also had a 3D floor plan that also showed different opportunities and people could learn about what was happening. We had 361 interactions on that piece of the app. And then in terms of sponsors, one of the ways that we really pay for the conference is through sponsorship revenue. We want to create a lot of value add when they come to our conferences, but we also produce a lot of data about those sponsors. So there was a QR code in signs in our sponsor exhibit booths. You could scan that QR code, and data would show on your mobile app screen investment data about that company. So it was fueled by Morningstar, but also fueled more engagements with the sponsor. There were 250 sponsor interactions, which was really valuable to our sponsors. And I should say there were only 37 sponsors, just to give you an idea of how many people that involved. And then the biggest success was really the discovery area. So you'll see this gentleman here. He actually leads our communities initiative at Morningstar. We identified Morningstar employees who had a yellow lanyard and a special QR code on their badge. These are people in sales, products, our analysts, marketing, and if attendees scan their badge, they learn a little bit more about them and created an interaction point with that person at Morningstar. We had over 1,300 discoveries of Morningstar people and products. Again, we thought this was a big success and just a new way that we were driving engagement and giving attendees a reason to interact with us. And these discoveries took place over the 2.5-day period of the conference. You can see here that the first day, these are 2 full days, were the most busy with over 400 discoveries each day, much smaller on the 3rd day, but that day is only a half day and the exhibit hall is open only for a few hours. So again, we were really pleased to see that we were driving discoveries and connections for the 2.5-day conference. Another thing we wanted to measure is, okay, great, people were discovering things in the exhibit hall. Were they interacting with our brand? Were they interacting with our spaces, and where were they connecting? We have a social digital hub that was the most popular. We also do a virtual reality. We did a virtual reality experience. The Morningstar booth, we had a theater, an innovation lab, and community. So we could see, in terms of where we were driving people, we were driving them to key areas within the exhibit hall and key moments where we could have conversations with them about our products, as well as develop new relationships with them. One way that we drove these connections is through gamifying it through real prizes. So every 10 tokens that you collected throughout the exhibit area, you got to take home some Morningstar swag. If you leveled up to 20 tokens, you got to be entered to win one of 5 Amazon gift cards. And at 30 tokens, you got to get a choice of an Oculus Rift or a 400 Amazon gift card. So again, really gamifying and making it fun. We had people actually kind of chasing the folks with the yellow badges down, like, I need to scan one more badge, I need to connect with you, and so I can win a prize. So it did create a lot of fun and energy, and again, more excitement in the exhibit hall, which can be, it's a large space with over 170 companies. We also complemented this experience with virtual reality at our conference this last year. Virtual reality is a 3-dimensional computer-generated environment which can be explored and interacted with. And as I mentioned to you before, we were really inspired by what's happening in the medical field around empathy labs. So people can experience virtual reality, doctors and surgeons can learn what it's like when they have to give their patients different types of diagnoses. If their patient is going to have macular degeneration, and what that's actually like for the patient, as well as other types of diseases and treatments, so that the surgeon or doctor can be more empathetic and understand what their clients are really going through. So with that inspiration, jumped ahead. The other piece in terms of how we were thinking about VR is just the growth of VR being projected to be $26.8 billion by 2022. So not as accessible and not as big of growth compared to AR. AR growth is really being driven by the accessibility of mobile. VR requires a larger investment right now, given some of the technology that you need, but still growing quite a bit. So our goals for virtual reality at the Morningstar Investment Conference was really to connect the value of advice from our CEO, Kunal Kapoor's keynote speech. This is something that he talked about and drove home throughout the conference. Our call to action was to learn more about our behavioral research, tying again an investor's behavior and how advisors can help those investors. And then providing, again, an empathetic look into the lives of clients through immersive VR. So we had headsets set up, computers set up, and the client could pick one of 3 different investor scenarios. They could be the Henry, the high earner, not rich yet. That's a young millennial. He's very driven by what's happening in the market, very influenced by his friends, what his friends are telling him to do, his fiance. How do you help Henry in those situations? The wife. This scenario is based on the fact that 70% of women leave their financial advisor once their husband dies because they don't have a relationship with that advisor. It's primarily been the husband's responsibility to manage that relationship. And then the retiree, really exploring the cognitive effects of aging on your decision-making capabilities and your interactions with the advisor. So all 3 of these scenarios really showed, again, the value of advice in an immersive way. After going through one of the experiences, an advisor took off the headset and she said, I've got to call my client today and talk to them about this situation. So really, and we saw that action throughout the conference, again, really prompting understanding of what their clients are going through when their clients have left the office. Again, we tied this to our investor success projects. We tied this back to the research, behavioral science research that our team does, and in terms of the scripting and how we develop the virtual reality stories. And then we also, the call to action at the end of the VR experience was to go meet with our behavioral science team and learn more about how our research can help you have better client outcomes. How did we do? How did this perform? Again, digital is all about the data. We had 408 sessions that were completed. Our attendees spent 25 hours immersed in virtual reality. On average, those scenarios were about 3.48 seconds per session. The Henry, the high earner but not rich yet, was most popular, followed by the wife and the retiree. So based on the impact of this success, we've actually had clients, one of our clients, sponsors actually came up to us, and we've been actually doing road shows with them where we take the VR scenarios out on the road to help with their own client experiences. We're taking this on the road. We're actually going to be developing new experiences custom for the UK and Australia markets in 2019. So based on the success of what we've been able to achieve in 2018, we'll be building on that for 2019. But the key to the success was really engaging with our own employees, training them to use the Augmented Reality app and serve as ambassadors, getting them to be the token holders, and engaging with clients on the showroom floor, and then also all of the people that man the VR stations in the exhibit hall were all Morningstar employees. In terms of thinking about it for your own use case, augmented reality, virtual reality can really help you add value and deliver information in new ways that are exciting for your clients. It creates a memorable experience that people will talk about after the event is over. It drives action. People were really looking to connect with other people, talking about the stories. We wanted to make connections with attendees. And in terms of where it's going next and what's driving adoption of VR and AR is the smartphone is no longer just a calling platform, it's really a consumer and information platform. There's applications across a variety of industries, and I encourage you to look at what IKEA is doing with their virtual and AR catalogs, what American Express is doing with their live events with AR. So there's lots of applications, and I've already talked about healthcare. And then untethered AR, I should say AR and VR devices. So as I mentioned before, VR can be more expensive, but now with Oculus Go and other types of headsets where you can actually move around, and the cost of those headsets are coming down. The Magic Leap, I'm actually testing out a Magic Leap in our office. That's got a little Go pack, so you could walk around with these AR goggles, and there's stuff all around you. So, and then with mixed reality, they're actually developing glasses similar to the Google Glass, but more normal looking, if I could say that, where mixed reality, again, you will be in this immersive environment and have a lot of access to data and information. So, and pricing and accessibility is also coming down. So with that, I'd be happy to take questions.
Well, I have a question. Is there a mic right there? Why do you think the Henry had the most engagement by far?
That's a good question. Behaviorally, it was placed right in the middle of those three, and so when you put the headset on, you've got your handset. I think that was the easiest to reach for, so I think it was ease of use. I think as we got a large portion of our attendees are actually men, do they maybe identify as a wife? They maybe thought, oh, that one's not for me, even though it's really designed to help you understand experience through a woman's eyes. So I don't have a lot of data around that, but those would be two guesses that I would have.
Well, thanks. Any other questions? Okay. Oh, one in the back. I'll go. Oh, yeah, I will. Thank you very much. I'm interested in learning a little bit more about the VR and just, can you talk about kind of like the timeline of what it takes to create customized content, how much it costs, like all that process that it takes to build something from scratch and really personalize to your own company?
Good question. We were up and running with both the AR and VR experiences in 6 months. I would say the VR maybe took more like 3 months out of that time period, although we kind of worked on it along the way. We brought in our own product people to talk about the scripts and the stories we wanted to tell. We talked about the goal setting at the outset. We also, after we got the scripts done and we casted the actors with the agency that we worked with, we reviewed scripts and reviewed storyboards to make sure those felt authentic. Do these feel like real interactions, real conversations that advisors are having? So we've tested them with our advisory boards and got feedback and made changes. But like I said, from start to finish, if we were to go all in on the timeline for VR, it was about 3 months. When we had just the 3 very focused scenarios. So I think the more focused you can be and the more focused on the goals you have will result in a pretty condensed timeline. I'm not really willing to say specifically how much, but for the two experience that I shared, we spent in the six figures, low six figures.
Both or each?
Both. Yeah, I negotiated pretty hard with this company. When they came to me with the proposal, it was much more expensive, and I said, well, based on this, I'm going to just go with the AR because mobile is much more accessible. I can reach more people at the conference because more people have mobile phones. People may not want to put on the headset. Not everyone wants to do that. And then he came back and said, oh, we can do both for this. And I said, okay. But it was low six figures. I felt like a fair price for the work. And because of that investment, like I said, we're looking at expanding this to conferences in the UK and Australia on the VR side, where we'll develop some investment scenarios relative to those markets, and then an augmented reality app for the US and a conference that we're hosting in India. So we're looking to do more in 2019.
Oh, good. Okay.
Oh, I can talk about that.
Okay, talk loud.
It sounds like you're exploring a lot of VR and AR at your association meetings and annual meetings and stuff.
Yep.
How are you guys also, as a financial company, exploring VR and AR?
Great question. We're doing that as well. So this experiment was this experience was a great opportunity to show the capabilities of VR and AR. So with the current scenarios we've developed, we're actually using this in client and employee training. So I mentioned some of the roadshows and things that we're doing with clients. We're also taking the scenarios to our own employee base and doing more training. So getting more out of the investment we've already made. And then I'm actually working on a 2019 plan where the company that we work with called Mesmerize is going to come in and help us develop like an 18-month AR and VR roadmap. Some of the things that we're looking, my team produces Morningstar magazine. So we're looking at like an AR companion where you scan your mobile phone over the magazine, current date, investment data comes up about what's in those articles. So we are looking at other applications. To your point, we have a lot of data, and we see more opportunities to surface that in our products and services. Does that help?
Cool. Well, thank you. Let's give.
Yeah, thank you.